Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem HaMashiach Hamashiach Yahushua. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, which the world calls God. And Yahushua is the name of His only begotten Son, which the world inwardly calls Jesus Christ. I want to give a strong shalom to all the mighty men that's going out there, that's laboring, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, doing all they can to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Not only that, they're enduring the elements, the 100-degree weathers, freezing below codes, and everything that's trying to hinder the work of the Most High in these last days. Shalom, shalom. Want to give another strong shalom to the aqua, right? The sisters that are at home, but they're reverencing their husbands, being teachers of good things, tender, delicate, and on fire for the Most High God in these last days. Last but not least, want to give another strong shalom to all the mighty teenagers and children in this truth, doing all they can to make their calling and election sure in these last days. Right, and shalom to everybody that will tune into the live stream, most high willing. All right, Makwa shalom, everybody else. Now the topic of this cold cut is, do not let them outwork you. All right, we in the last days. Brothers should be kicking it up a notch. Sisters should be on fire and flame with zeal, serving the Lord like it's your last day. Because little do you know it, it's somebody out there that's putting in more work than you, man. They're on a cause. They're more fervent than you. They want this truth more than you, man. While you occupied and distracted by the cares of this world, whether that's surfeiting, drunkenness, slothfulness, a woman, covetousness, money, you focus on your job, you focus on damn things that's not profitable. It's somebody out there that's really hungry, that's putting in work. They're gonna outwork you, man, and they're gonna take your spot, and the Most High is gonna have that happen, man. So again, through the spirit, the topic of this cold cut is, do not let them outwork. Do not let Satan outwork you. Do not let these scoffers outwork you, the flesh, these demons, because it will. Everything is working. Everything is moving. Everything is working on a deeper level. And again, the topic of this cold cut is, do not let them outwork you. Right? This is all off the spirit. I don't have any precepts written down. Right? So we're going to go into it. Let's kick it off with 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse number 7. All right? This is the book of 1 Peter 4 and 7. It says, but the end of all things is at hand. Be therefore sober and watch unto prayer. So the end of all things is at hand. We living in literally the last of the last days. It's already 2025. It's finna be February. Time is kicking up. Time is moving. You have more demons on the uprising. You have more demons trying to pull you out of this truth, man. You have more brothers and sisters coming into this truth. You have Donald Trump in office stirring up the spirit of these men and the kings of the earth to have all hell break loose. All things is at an end. This world is coming to an end. All right. What spirit should you be in? You should be in overdrive mode. You should have a desire for this word, right? A lot of brothers, you lose this desire for this word. You don't desire the word how you used to. You're not thirsty for it. You're not hungry for this word. Now it's like a snack to you. You kind of snack on the precepts here and there, and then you say, I don't want it no more. Sisters, they start getting slothful. Remember how you first came into this truth and you was hungry? You couldn't wait to get off work to go get in the word, go meditate for some hours. All right? Man, I got to read this. I got to finish this book of 1 Samuel. You can't wait till the video come on, so you writing down all of the notes. You scribing everything out. Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 5. You lost that hunger. And guess what? When you lose that, somebody else is going to reign in your stead. Most High is going to lift somebody else. I'm telling you, it's brothers out here. I'm witness of it. It's brothers out here that's hungry, man. They willing to put in the work. They can't wait to go out there on the highways and byways. They own the cars. They scribing these notes down. They applying the precepts. They getting into this thing. And you got sisters, they coming into, they working with their hands. They getting their spirits together. I'm telling you, it's people that they more hungry than you. And if you don't put in consistent work, if you don't stay consistent and fervent for yourself, they're going to outwork you and they're going to take your spot. And the Most High going to pull you out of this truth. And you're going to be sitting on the sidelines, man. Right? It's the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse number 6. It says, blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. And the good thing about this truth, this Bible, this is an all you can eat buffet, man. There's no such thing as really getting full. There's no such thing, well, that's the cutoff time. You can't be in here no more. The restaurant is closed. No, this is 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for the rest of your life. You got many different chambers. I just learned something new today that I should have been already knew damn 2-3 years ago. And I'm looking at the precept. I said, I know this precept. I come do a comparative text. I say, wow, this is what it's talking about. So it's still more things you can learn. The Lord said, blessed is they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness. You have certain brothers, they don't get hungry no more. They start getting hungry with vanity. They start getting hungry with stuff in the world. Surfetting. Getting caught up on damn a woman in the world, Eve. This money. Like we said, your job. That spirit of slothfulness overtaking you. You stay in that spirit, hey, the Lord gonna send a watcher down from the third heaven, say, hew him up, and literally root you up and plant somebody else in your stead, man. That's how it go. So you gotta be hungry. You gotta have that desire for the word. You gotta have that zeal toward the Lord, man. You gotta really fall in. You gotta fall in love with this stuff. You gotta fall in love with the grind and these precepts, the Most High. You have to be praying more than ever. That's how a lot of people really fall out. They don't have the desire to pray no more. You can't hate. You gotta love prayer, because that's one of the most important things in this truth. Right? Let's go to the book of Psalms. Right? I want to go to the book of Psalms, chapter 42 and verse number 1. It says, as the hart panteth after the water brooks, so my soul panteth after thee, O God. You got to be like David. All right? David, his soul was panting after the word. That's like a dog with his tongue out, and he's ready to get that water. You got to be thirsty for the living water. Thirsty for this righteousness. It says, my soul thirsteth for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? Because guess what? When you stop eating on a physical level, when you stop being hungry, you losing your appetite. You got certain brothers, they spiritually losing their appetite. Guess what? You start to get skinny. You start to lose fat. You start to lose your body, your muscle mass. Your arms get skinnier. All right? Your core get all skinny. Your legs get skinny. Next thing you know, you walking around like a stick. And eventually, you're going to be diagnosed as unhealthy. Why? Because you don't have the proper nutrients. You need this thing to survive. You can't be going days without praying, man. You can't be going weeks without fasting. You can't be going days without reading, without meditating on this word. Because like we say, you got his brothers out here, they panted for the word. They gonna run after the Lord. They waiting to take you. They want it. They more hungry. Where I would never forget a time we was literally, this went before we was even WFI Chicago. We was in Joliet. We was teaching, and I was teaching a brother at a corner store. And as I'm teaching him, I'm looking in his eyes, and he just thirsty. I'm giving him this precept and this precept. He said, he's shaking his head. He said, okay, bet, that's a bet. He was hungry, man. He really wanted this truth. Let's go to the book of Songs of Solomon. All right? Because the men of the Lord, guess what? They're going to run after the Lord. They're going to walk hundreds of miles for the Lord if it came down to it. And they're going to die for the Lord. They gonna be on the instant. They gonna be ready to do anything. Why? Because they love the Lord so much. Let's go to the book of Songs of Solomon, chapter 1. Right? Go to the book of Songs of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse number 4. It says, draw me, we will run after thee. When was the last time you really ran for the Lord? When was the last time you went out your way to please the Most High? Or have you been dragging your feet? Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like giving alms. I guess I'm going to just give alms. I really don't feel like praying right now, but I guess I'll just throw up one prayer. All right. Yeah, I don't feel like going to the feast day. I'm going to just stay at home. Are you dragging your feet? Because while you doing all that, you coming up with those thoughts in your head, it's a brother that's literally crying because he want to go to a feast day. Because he want to be around righteous men and women of the Lord. Because he really want to get into this thing. It says, draw me, we will run after thee. Again, when was the last time you ran for the Lord, man? You went out your way. You sacrificed certain things for Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. It says, the king have brought me into his chambers. We will be glad and rejoice in thee. We will remember thy love more than wine. The upright love thee. And that's right. Because the upright will love the Lord, man. Let's go to the book of Daniel. All right. Let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 4. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 4, and verse number 13. It reads, I saw in the visions of my head upon my bed, behold, a watcher and an holy one came down from heaven. He cried aloud and said thus, hew down the tree and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit. And you could be like King Nebuchadnezzar. Hey, King Nebuchadnezzar, he had everything. He was the top king on the earth. But guess what? He was lifted up. He thought he didn't have to work anymore. Now, when you first read King Nebuchadnezzar in the book of Judith, he was conquering, right? He had beautiful colors and beautiful wings. Like he's likened to that eagle from taking down these different nations. And he was conquering and conquering here. And his whole goal was to conquer the whole earth. But guess what? He started to get lazy. He started to get content. And that ultimately lifted up his heart. And guess what? He was slothful, man. He was wicked, prideful. Then the Lord gave him a dream. Guess what? I'm going to hew you down. And that could happen to any one of us. You could get hewed down by the Most High. Have your leaves scattered. Your fruit, which represents your works, all the works that you put in, and the Lord can scatter. The Lord don't give a damn about those works, man. Right now, man might care, but the Most High don't. The Most High had you do those works. It says, shake off his leaves and scatter his fruit. Let the beast get away from under it, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, lead the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, and the tender grass of the field, and let them be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beast and the grass of the earth. See that? Let's go to the book of 2 Samuel. All right. Let's go to the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 3 and verse 1. Right, it's the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 3 and verse 1. Now there was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David. But David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker. So while somebody is waxing stronger and stronger, guess what? Somebody else is waxing weaker and weaker. All right, it's a just balance in this truth. You're not just going to have the whole nation in zeal on fire for the Lord. You're going to have people that's slothful. People that really don't care about this thing. People that take this truth for granted. People that's getting distracted by the cares of this life and that's overthrowing their judgment to serve the Most High God. So if you're getting weaker and weaker, whether that's by a demon, what about that's the situation that you're in right now, that the Most High has you in? Whatever the case might be, guess what? Just know it's somebody out there that's waxing stronger and stronger. That's why on a deeper level, who gives a damn what you're going through? And the more you wax weaker and weaker and weaker, the next brother is waxing stronger and stronger and stronger. If you're a sister and you waxing weaker and weaker in the spirit, guess what? The Lord has another sister that's out there that's more pure in heart than you. All right? She's more sincere than you. She really cares about this thing. Guess what? She's waxing stronger and stronger and stronger. Like we say all the time, everybody has somebody out there that's better. Don't think nobody is better than you. I promise you for a fact, it's somebody there more pure in heart than you. And that's an ultimate cut. Because if it's somebody that's more pure in heart than me, that means I got to examine myself. If it's somebody out there that has more integrity than me, I got to examine myself. If it's somebody out there that's more righteous than me and better, I got to examine myself. Don't think the Most High doesn't have other men out there lined up that's waiting to take your spot. The Lord always has a remnant. You read about that in the book of 1 Kings, man. How the Lord had those 7,000 men that didn't bow down to the knee of Baal, that was still serving the Lord. And Elijah thought he was the only one. Don't think you're the only one that's in this truth, man. Don't think you're the only one. You going as hard as you. I'm just the only one. No, it's people that's out there that's 10 times more on fire than you. Let's get that in the book of 1 Samuel. Right? Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 15, and verse number 28. And it reads, And Samuel said unto him, The Lord hath rent the kingdom of Israel from thee this day, and have given it to a neighbor of thine that is better than thou. So guess what? David was better than King Saul. And due to that, the Lord took King Saul, took that kingship from him, and gave it to King David. Why? Because David was going to supersede Saul. John the Baptist, let's get that in John, the 3rd chapter. John the Baptist, he knew that he was going to have to decrease. Because who is better than John the Baptist? Yahushua. Right, let's go to the book of John chapter 3 and verse number 29. It says, He that hath the bride is the bridegroom, but the friend of the bridegroom which standeth and heareth them rejoiceth greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. This is my joy. This my joy therefore is fulfilled. He must increase, but I must decrease. So if John the Baptist, which was a prophet, a mighty man of the Lord, which was Elijah regenerated in the spirit, if he had somebody that was more better than him, you might think, well, damn, that's Elijah, man. That's John the Baptist. Who could be more on fire than Elijah the prophet? Guess what? You always gonna have somebody that's greater than you, that's putting in more work than you. All right? That's in the precepts more than you. That's praying more than you. That's in a more righteous spirit than you. That's in a more sincere spirit than you. That's not prideful. That's not arrogant. That's not full of themselves. Who did John the Baptist have that was greater than him? Guess what? Yahushua. Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians. So what should I tell you? Hey, you gotta kick it up a notch, man. You gotta go 10 times harder. Right? It's the book of 1 Corinthians 15 and 58. This truth is like a job, man. People don't just stay at the job their whole lives. If they start slacking at the workplace, guess what? They're going to get brought into HR. They might get a little talk with them. And guess what? They're going to fire that person and they're going to hire another person. And some of these jobs, guess what? They'll fire. They don't give a damn. They'll fire you, man. They'll fire, they fired 500 people one time at my old last job. And guess what? All those 500 people got replaced with new people. Don't let that be you in this truth. You get replaced because you're not diligent in your work. All right? You get replaced because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in this truth. Right? Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 15 and 58. Right? It's 1 Corinthians 15 and 58, and it reads, "Therefore, my brethren, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord." So you want to always be abounding in the work. You want to be unmovable, always in the precepts, always in the spirit of righteousness, always on your P's and Q's, watching the prophecies, examining yourself, especially leading up into Passover. Like we said, being in the right spirit. I'm going to read that last part again. It says, "For as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord." Because the Lord is paying attention to everything. Not only is he paying attention to your works, but he's paying attention to your spirit. He's paying attention into the heart, your mind, your intentions. What manner of man are you? What manner of sister are you? Woman are you in this truth? And the Lord is paying attention to all of that. You have to be always abounding in the work of the Most High. Let's go to the classic Psalms chapter 1. All right. Let's go to Psalms chapter 1 and verse number 2. It says, "But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in season." Don't you want to be a tree that's planted by waters? A tree that's planted by waters is going to be fruitful. It's going to be consistently growing, strong, can endure hardships, the elements, if it's wind degrees blowing at them. It says that bringeth forth his fruit in season, his leaf shall also not wither, but whatsoever he shall doeth shall prosper. And that's by meditating in the Lord day and night. So if you're not meditating day and night, you're going to start to lose your leaves. Your branches is going to start to fall off. Like we said earlier, you're going to start waxing worse and worse. The birds, they're going to stop. The birds is going to stop coming to your tree. The sun is not going to shine upon your tree no more. Eventually, everything is going to be broken off until an axe is laid to that. And you pull it up by the roots. Don't wait till you pull it up by the roots to say, "Dang, I didn't know I was replaceable." Because anybody is replaceable. That's why the Lord said, "Hey, hate not labor's works." Let's go to that in Sirach, the 7th chapter. All right. Let's go to Sirach, chapter 7. Right. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 7 and 15. It says, "Hate not labor's works, neither husbandry, which the Most High have ordained." So do not hate husbandry. Put in as much as work as you can. Didn't the Lord say every man is going to be judged according to their works? Let's get that in the book of Revelation. Let's go to Revelation chapter 22 and verse number 12. All right. It's Revelation 22 and verse 12. It reads, and behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. So if you're going to be rewarded according to your works, how much work should you be putting in? And it's not just necessarily how much work. You want the quality of your work to be good, because anybody could put in work. Anybody could have righteous works. But is that done in the right spirit? Is that done sincerely? We'll rather have quality over quantity. Is the quality of that work nice and sound? All of these things play in a factor, man. Yeah, because the Lord is weighing everything in a balance. I'm going to read that part again. It says, to give every man according as his work shall be. The Apostle Paul, guess what? He put in more work than the rest of the apostles. Let's go to the book of 1 Corinthians. Paul said he labored more abundantly. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse number 9. It says, for I am the least of the apostles, that I am not meet to be called an apostle, because I persecuted the church of God. But by the grace of God, I am what I am. And his grace which bestowed upon me was not in vain, but I labored more abundantly than they all. Yet not I, but the grace of God which was with me. And Paul, he started late. You might be a brother, you kind of new in this truth, kind of came in this thing at the last second. A sister kind of wasted some time, didn't know, what do I do? Twiddling your thumbs. Guess what? Paul, he came in late. He was woken up on the road to Damascus by Yahushua. He still labored more than all the apostles. Not saying that the apostles didn't want it, but again, you always gonna have somebody that's gonna want it more than you. And on a deeper level, hey, that shouldn't sit right with you. You shouldn't be content with somebody else saying, yeah, I'm going to serve the Lord better than you. You're going to be like, what? But that don't sit right with me. That might put you on fire. They might encourage you to go harder. Yeah, I'm going to serve the Lord better than you. All right? That should put you in 10 times more overdrive mode. But again, you will be rewarded according to your works, right? So this is why we can't take this truth for granted. We in the last days, right? We got to kick it up 10 more notches. We got to examine ourselves. We got to see, is we fit for the master's use? Let's go to that in 2 Timothy. Right? Let's go to that in the book of 2 Timothy. Right? This is the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and 19. It says, nevertheless, the foundation of God standeth sure, having this seal, the Lord knoweth them that are his. And the Lord, on a deeper level, he knows them that are his, man. He knew from the beginning. It says, and let everyone that nameth the name of Christ depart from iniquity. But in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and of silver, but also of wood and of earth, and of some to honor and some to dishonor. Right? So in a great house, you have many different vessels. Gold, silver, brass, pots, pans. Some over here, some over over here. You could use any one of these vessels in your house. I mean, it's your house. It's a great house. It's plentiful. It says, if a man therefore purge himself from these, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified and meet for a master's use, and prepared unto every good work. So if you purge yourself from what? This filthy wickedness of the world, the old man, these distractions, it says he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified, and meet for the master's use. You want to make sure the Most High is able to use you. If you can't be used, that means you have no value. People that can't, people that, it's people that don't ask certain people for certain things because they know what they ask, they can't provide it. And when you can't provide something, that means you might be missing value in a certain area. But you have certain people, they ask people for this task. Yeah, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I need you to do this, A, B, and C. Why? Because they have value in that field. You want to be valued in the truth by the Lord. You want the Lord to use you, meet for the masses' use, so you can spread his gospel out throughout the four corners of the earth. You want to be used by the Lord. Because if not, guess what? The Lord is going to wrap you up, toss you, and he's going to use somebody else that's going to do a better job than you, that's going to get the job done, that's not going to complain, all right? That's not going to be slothful, that's not going to be prideful, and in a wicked, evil spirit. All of these things matter. And if you think that it don't matter, you're going to be in for a rude awakening, man. It's literally a time and a place for everything. It's seasons for a reason, man. You have sifting season, and you have season where the crops actually grow in, man. You got a season when the Lord put the scythe to the crops. You have the wheat, you have the tares. All of these things matter. I'm gonna read that last part again. It says, but in a great house there are not only vessels of gold and of silver, but also of wood and of earth, and of some to honor and some to dishonor. If a man therefore purge himself from these things, he shall be a vessel unto honor, sanctified and meet for the master's use, and prepared unto every good work. Right, let's go to the book of Luke. Right, let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 21 and verse number 34. Right, it's the book of Luke, chapter 21 and 34. It says, take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness and cares of this life, so that they come upon you unaware. Meaning, pay attention. Pay attention to the signs of the times. Pay attention to the spirit that's moving in the nation. Pay attention to all these things. We just read 1 Peter 4 and 7. All right. Be therefore sober. The end of all things is at hand. Unless you be overcharged with surfeiting, drunkenness, cares of this life. All right. Your own problems, whether that's financially, damn car breakdown, job issues, relationship issues, children, family members. Because Satan, he's not going to always come directly to you and tempt you all the time. Satan is going to hop on different people to try to get to you, right? He's going to hop on to people to try to distract you, to throw you off from your purpose, to throw you off from your goals, the mission that you're supposed to be on. It says, and so that they come upon you unawares. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth. So as a snare, it shall come upon everybody. These things, nobody's exempt, man. Like we said earlier, nobody's exempt from their spot being taken. Because this is a snare. This snare is going to come upon everybody. Me, you, your family, children, other brothers and sisters in this truth, in this walk, to try to ensnare them, to get their mind twisted up, to have them slow down. Because again, this is a race. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12. All right. This truth is a race, man. Let's go to the book of Hebrews 12 and 1. Right, it's the book of Hebrews 12 and 1. It says, wherefore seeing we are also so are compassed about with so a great cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so doth easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us. Right, so we have a race that's set upon us, before us. This race is the race to the kingdom. It's a road to the kingdom. That straight and narrow road, that straight and narrow path. So you have to run this thing with patience. Now, while you own this race, you're going to have things that's going to try to slow you down. You might see other brothers pass you up in this thing. You're going to see other brothers slowing down. You're going to see sisters passing you up. All right? You're going to see people tripping and falling on this race, stumbling. You're going to see people injured. You're going to see certain people, they started off running fast, then they got out of breath. So they start slowing down. And eventually, they stop running. It's a lot of things you're going to see on this race, man. But guess what? Just know that it's many different things that's going to try to pull you off this race. Ultimately, pull you off the truth. It says, verse 2, looking at Yahushua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. But we have people, we have examples. Yahushua Christ. It was kind of impossible for another man to take Christ's spot because Christ was always occupied. He was always working. He was always about his Father's business. Ducking off praying here, teaching the word here, teaching repentance here. All right? He was always occupied, always fervent. So it's hard for somebody to creep up on him in the spirit. We have to be the same way. We have to literally be Christ-like. Making sure we repenting for our sins. Making sure we being vigilant. Always occupied in the work of the Lord. Didn't the Lord say, occupy till I come? Let's get that in the book of Luke. Making sure we occupied. Making sure we keeping our hands busy. Let's go to the book of Luke. Chapter 19 and verse number 13. And he called his 10 servants and delivered them 10 pounds and said unto them, occupy till I come. So the Lord wants us to be occupied. He doesn't want us to be idle. Right? You read that in Sirach, the 33rd chapter. Guess what? Idleness teacheth much evil, man. Idleness is what's going to get you to slow down. Idleness is what's going to get your mind from off these precepts. Idleness is what's going to get you to fold up your hands, kick your feet back, and relax. And everything is going to be okay. Why are you going to have a laboring man who's diligent in his work? He's working hard every day. He's not taking days off. He's not taking breaks off. He's not taking spiritual vacations. He's always occupied in his work. Let's go to the book of Proverbs 22. Right? Let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 22 and verse number 29. Proverbs 22 and 29. Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. So that man that's diligent, guess what? He's going to stand before kings. And the ultimate king that a diligent man is going to stand before is none other than the King of Kings and the Lords of Lords. Hamashiach Yahushua. Right? The Prince of Peace. All right? The one who died on the cross for our transgressions, for our sins. We want to be that person. Is what? It's all through the work of the Lord. All right? Make sure you stand occupied. Make sure you stand fervent. Make sure you're not taking this thing as a joke, a game, a gimmick. Because again, right now as we speaking, it's somebody out there. Guess what? They putting in more work than you, man. They putting in work as we speak, and they want it more than you. And eventually, if you're not taking this thing serious, they're going to pass you up, and they're going to replace your spot and take you in instead. Right? Let me get one more precept. All right, let me get one more precept, the classic. Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 3. All right, let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 3 and 2. And it reads, "Be watchful and strengthen the things which remain that are ready to die. For I have not found thy works perfect before God." Right? And your works are never found perfect before the Lord. So it means there's always more work to be put in through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Mashiach, Wamalak Yahushua. And with that, Lord willing, this video was edifying. Continue to read, pray, fast, study. Most importantly, beseech the Heavenly Father for his mercy. That I'm say shalom.